recording.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Yeah, I'll just take a few minutes to get into the state. Oh, Jenny, that picture behind you is so beautiful. Oh my gosh, I just noticed that. Wow. Oh, that's gorgeous.
You're muted, Jenny. But same thing. I noticed that in our last meetup, it's absolutely stunning. It's just gorgeous.
Really beautiful. Oh, she's in pink and orange too. Or red and orange. Greetings, this is Zariyah from the Orion civilization. We are so pleased that you have joined with us today to allow for the transmission of this brief explanation of the idea of the great cosmic joke. One of the ideas that we would like to emphasize to you on your planet during this time of great seriousness and great upheaval is the idea that one of the fastest ways to enlightenment is through joy, comedy, and lightheartedness. We would like to share with you a story of the man on the mountain top. There are many stories in your culture and in Eastern cultures about the wise man on top of the mountain, to whom people go to pilgrimage to ask questions about the meaning of life. There was one such apprentice monk who scaled the great mountain to reach the summit to ask the monk what was the purpose of life. And the monk looked at him and replied, "First, find someone to blame." And he left it at that. Very confused was the monk as he started to descend the mountains, and then he started to smile. And he realized how happy he felt if he could blame his problems on someone else. And that the great cosmic joke was that he was really supposed to enjoy his life and not shoulder himself with all sorts of responsibilities. And therefore, by the time he descended the mountain, he was laughing out loud at the joke that the monk had shared with him. And he felt better, and he felt closer to enlightenment. What we would encourage you to do is to recognize there is essentially no serious meaning to life. Everything that you need to do, you have already done by just showing up and being present, and that the unfolding is supposed to be fun, that your time here is not supposed to be a permanent, serious project, but it is rather the expansion of your understanding through experiences, and that undergirding all these experiences is connection and communion, and that there is so much connection in shared humor, in for a moment raising your vibration to the frequency of laughter with other people, which is a great relief and a great way to tell important truths. With that in mind, we would like to share with you a joke. The Dalai Lama walked into a bar, a pizza bar, and he said, "Could you make me one with everything?" Ho, ho, ho. We do hope that this transmission helps you to lighten up on yourselves and lighten up on each other. You are all in it together, and it really is nothing serious. If you do have any questions at this time, we would be delighted to respond.
I have a question that I'm going to ask for Bonnie, who doesn't have a microphone on her tablet. She is curious. She had a classmate named Janice about 60 years ago who keeps reoccurring to her in dreams and otherwise, and she wonders what the significance is and if there's any message that she may have or get from this experience.
Yes. We are scanning your energy. We are seeing a branch that forms the shape of an ankh. So therefore, a branch that splits off into two directions. Janice is, in fact, a counterpart of yours that you have met in your lifetime. And that is unusual, quite unusual. While you do have connections with counterparts that you are confirming all the time in other realities, on other timelines, in other star systems and galaxies and dimensions, to meet physically a counterpart that is a human being on the same timeline as you is quite unusual. It therefore offers you a very important reflection. At a time in your lives where you were both expanding quite significantly, you offered each other a very important reflection. One that has in many ways popped up in your life as it has unfolded, where it has been relevant. The message of that reflection continues to be relevant. And often you will find that the memory of that counterpart, the strangeness of it reoccurring in your reality, is to remind you of what it was that that reflection was focused on. We are recognizing that it is something about worth, self-worth. There was a reflection that you provided to each other at a very important time regarding worth. And when these issues surface for you periodically, which they do in various shapes and ways for most human beings on your planet, you are calling in that reflection to turn it over again in your mind, so to speak, to understand if there is anything relevant in that experience that is still applicable. We do congratulate you for recognizing the unusual nature of someone coming into your mind so frequently when it has been so long since you have had a physical or meaningful contact. But we would say this is because they are a counterpart of yours, and that is indeed unusual. Does this help?
I'm sure it does. Thank you.
You are so welcome. Is there any further questions?
Yes, I have a question.
Yes.
So we are on a topic of humor and fun and life. How do we bring like joy and fun to, for example, people who are receiving end of life care?
Yes. Again, you can find in the most difficult moments the most ripe opportunity for humor. There is cultures on your planet that celebrate what is known as dark humor. the idea that when you have nothing else in the face of despair, you may keep some humor to lift your spirits. We are reflecting on the idea that at the end of life, you can really see the absurdity of the life journey, that it is in many ways the most profoundly beautiful and meaningless journey that you could ever take, in the sense that you have, as human beings, marched along often a linear path, thinking that you were climbing some mountain, much like the apprentice monk who is climbing the mountain on only to reach the summit, and to be informed that the whole journey is quite absurd and quite meaningless in the ways that you would understand to ascribe meaning. In reality, every experience is ripe with the delicate combination of love, humor, fragility, robustness, vitality, excitement, vulnerability. All of these things coexist, and certainly the coexistence of all of those things is amplified at the end of life. At the end of life, many people feel their vulnerability and their fragility amplified, but they also feel their love and their sense of beauty and their sense of awareness amplified. If you ever speak with someone who is suffering from a terminal illness, they will often say that they have a new perception of the beauty of life, of the magnificence of life, because they are nearing its end and they sense that. Although, of course, there is no nearing life's end. Life does not end, but perhaps the end of a particular physical journey or a particular incarnation. Therefore, if you are dealing with someone who is struggling to see the lighter side of life, be an example for them in their presence, even by changing your frequency to one of lightheartedness, to one of comedic readiness. You are going to change the basis of your interaction. Speak gently and optimistically. Remember things that you've laughed about before and describe them to the person. Invite them into that vibration. There is nothing so relieving as laughing, and it also has healing and pain relieving properties. That is also a consideration for someone who may be experiencing discomfort near the end of their physical incarnation. Does this help?
It's wonderful. Thank you.
You are so welcome.
Over.
Hello.
Hello.
I have a question,
Yes.
which is non-serious.
We are
So, previous time, last time, you mentioned the frequency of children, and
Yes.
it was 100 cycle per second.
Yes.
So till that time, I was thinking that if we lower our vibration, we feel negativity. But you mentioned the frequency of children, which is 100, and it is low, and it is not negative. We don't see any negative here. So what is negative vibration? Or what is negative energy? Like, I lost the idea of it.
We do not say that the vibration of children is low. In fact, comparative to most of the human beings on your planet, by the time they reach adolescence and adulthood, 100,000 cycles per second is comparatively high. You will note that most of the adult beings on your planet are cycling somewhere between 40 to 60,000 cycles per second, We do note that when you commune in groups like this and engage in practices designed to deliberately raise your vibration, yes, you do raise up to between 130 up to 190,000 cycles per second, and then counting, which is very exciting. However, the vibration of children at 100,000 cycles per second is already quite high. It is not necessarily as high as you can cycle to once you have full capabilities of your expanded consciousness. Children are coming in with, in many senses, their template that has not been expanded into any type of clear direction as yet. That is the function of moving through childhood, adolescence, and into adulthood. You can either expand your vibrational frequency range with the activities that you undertake and the thoughts that you allow yourself to be occupied by, or you can reduce your vibrational frequency range by those same measures and endeavors. We do say the vibrational frequency range of children is naturally quite high, and we would point you to the idea of the laughing Buddha and the laughing child. They are very resonant. They are very similar in their appearance. Often you will see infants and children who are laughing for no reason, who are sharing a joke that perhaps they don't even or nobody else understands. There is nothing quite so exciting as when a child is able to understand their first joke. It is the idea that the natural state of joy and lightheartedness is born into the heart of every child. They, in fact, come in with that capability. And then to achieve that state in adulthood, despite all of the contrasting experiences that one might have had, is a state of enlightenment. Does this help?
Yeah. Yes.
Although we
Thank
do
you.
use the reference point of 230,000 cycles per second for contact, that is a high vibrational frequency range. And you will note that the vibrational frequency range of Christ consciousness is 333,000 cycles per second. So if you are achieving in groups like this, a vibrational frequency state of 190,000 cycles per second, you are over halfway. Does that help? Put it into context.
Yeah. So if vibration decreases or lower goes, do we feel negativity? I mean, there is a meditations that meditating on a gamma frequency, for example, which is low frequency,
Yes.
as I understand. So there is no negativity here.
Yes, but we are talking about, so your gamma frequency is your brain wave frequency, which is quite different from your vibrational frequency range. Your vibrational frequency range is contractive or expansive. Perhaps that is a better way to say it. So when you are in connection, in communion, you are expansive. When you are in separation, when you are in isolation, you are contracting. And in that contraction, your vibrational frequency range does lower somewhat. We don't say necessarily that it is a negative experience. Experiences are not positive or negative. They are just experiences. And there are many good reasons why an expanded soul might choose a quote unquote negative experience, so that they have that in their repertoire as a reference point, as a point of expansion. We would also note, one moment. That your vibrational frequency range does and is designed to travel all over the map, so to speak. It is not the case that you should, or you even ought to want to always and only cycle up and stay vibrationally high in that regard. because you would transition to non-physical. If you became the vibrational frequency range of Christ consciousness, you would transition into non-physical. And that is not why you decided to descend into density. You decided to descend into density so you could experience the separation, and then you could reconnect yourself to source and experience the difference in that vibrational frequency range cycle per second. Therefore, the whole exercise is so that you can become aware of the journey, aware of how you travel from a lower vibrational frequency range to a higher vibrational frequency range. That's where the expansion is. That's what hasn't been done before. And that is what is so exciting about your journey. It is not that you should all of a sudden become afraid of dipping down in your vibration or afraid of having experiences that you perceive as negative. No, you should congratulate yourself if you have those experiences, because you are expanding and they are temporary. And you will use those experiences to inform yourself and your counterparts and the entire galaxy about how it feels to step up your vibrational frequency range from a place of great separation and become conscious of that. How exciting. It therefore would not make sense to have children born on your planet who are already cycling at 230,000 or 300 cycles per second. Then you have missed the whole game and there's no fun in that. Does that help?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it helps. So what about cycling a billion cycle per second? Is it possible?
How many?
Billion.
You're joking, right?
Yeah. I mean, just theoretical, I am thinking, is it
A
possible?
billion cycles per second?
Yeah.
You would have to really concentrate on laughing your way to that vibration. In fact, we will leave you with this bit of information. As you cycle up and cycle up, because you were talking about vibrational frequency ranges getting higher, but also there is a slower pace that is associated with brainwave frequencies. So as you get higher in your frequency range and closer to matching that of source, the vibrational frequency unification process of yourself with source acts like a pulse that is a slowing, steady pulse, much like a heartbeat of a marathon runner. That one strong pump can circulate the blood for a long time and you pump less to get more circulation. In one sense, vibrational frequency range operates at a similar function once you get to something like a billion vibrations per second.
Yeah, I see. Okay, so can you tell us some joke from your world?
1 moment. In our civilization, when we are looking at human beings who are saying that they are struggling to transmute darkness to light, we fall over ourselves laughing, to be honest. As if you could only imagine what we went through and how long it took us to find the comedy in our situation. You would really understand that your dance to comedy and fun is really laid out before you. Can you imagine that we view your species as our comedic entertainment sometimes?
Yes. Yes.
We are laughing with you, of course, not at you. Always the way. Is there any further questions?
Jenny?
Yes, thank you. Zariyah, I have learned from other sources that before we embark on a new incarnation here on Earth, we make plans with other people, that we decide to incarnate perhaps with people we've incarnated before, and a family, and we also decide things like level of intellect, maybe having a disease or not. And can you just describe how and why those decisions are made?
Yes, we will preface this explanation with the idea that you understand that reincarnation is really a description of the idea that you are multidimensional and that it is all happening now, rather than the idea that you are born again into another body in a series of linear lifetimes. We would also note that you do have to understand the point of paradox. It was your scientist, the channel does not have a name, that noted that you are able to hold two ideas, two opposite ideas in your mind at the same time, and that is the definition of genius. So that what you are saying, decisions or contracts or agreements are made before you incarnate into physical, and that you have free will to discern your life in its unfolding as you travel along it. Both are true, both are correct. Indeed, you do make some agreements before you come into physical, and those agreements are made in the perfect intention of the themes you would like to engage with in your expansion. More or less, every human being who has incarnated onto this timeline has agreed to dance with the theme of transformation, and who has agreed to dance with the theme of integration, which has been a really majestic community unfolding. However, in that broad theme and broad agreement, of course, there are limitless ways to interpret that theme. There are limitless experiences that you can engage in to resolve that theme. Transformation can mean many things in many frameworks, in many contexts. And while you are sharing the agreement to participate in that theme, how that looks in each individual life story is an expression of the way that your personality self or your physical mind engages with your higher mind, and the types of experiences you have as a result of that communication. Of course, you do recognize when there are people or circumstances that happen in your life that seem to have a particularly strong resonance. There is a recognition of the significance of another person or time or place or experience. And that is because it is coded into the fabric of your life path that this energy interaction or exchange will be significant, and usually significant in the sense that it triggers in you a greater expansive potential, that there is a relationship, a situation, or a circumstance that affords you a doorway through which greater expansion is possible. All of the agreements that you have made in that regard are about expanding yourself even further. And often you do need some type of trigger person, place, or event to keep you on that expansive path, so to speak. And that is why we do say it is all by agreement on one level, because you have all agreed to transform and you have all agreed to expand, although different people will require different circumstances to facilitate that expansion. Does that help?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
You are so welcome.
Liz?
Yep. So I have another question related to Jenny questions as well. Can
Yes.
we decide how and when to leave this physical body?
Yes, not can you. You do. You do. If you allow yourself to recognize that every moment of every day, there is an opportunity to transition. Literally, every moment of every day, waking or sleeping, you have the opportunity to transition. And you do see this happen quite often. It is very common on your planet that people will transition at a moment's notice. And we do tell you that everybody does transition. There are several high yogis and cultures on your planet that have demonstrated this elective transitioning for you. But the secret is that while they are conscious in their physical mind that they have that choice, in fact, you all have that choice. Often the result of what you might consider an uncomfortable transition is the physical mind resisting the higher mind's preference. And that is quite normal because you have coded into your physical mind several fears and feelings of concern that you will move into non-existence, which of course is not the case. And we would encourage you to recognize the absurdity of fearing transition because you have done it so many times. In fact, you have shown yourself in your own lifetime how commonplace transition is in your transition from an infant to a toddler, to a child, to an adolescent, to an adult, to middle-aged, to a senior citizen, to elderly, and finally to non-physical. In every transition, you understand that the person you were before is gone, no longer exists in physical reality. The child that is you does not exist on this timeline anymore, but you do continue. And the transition into non-physical is no different from that. And certainly you do choose when to make that transition. If you would like to become more conscious in your physical mind of that fact, we would encourage you to work with your fears about transitioning. Once you have released your fears about transitioning, you will really be able to settle in to the knowing that the higher mind is trying to transmit to you that you will only be here as long as it serves you, and that you will not be pulled from this experience before you are ready. Does that help?
Thank you. And another question, not related to this, but when I talk to my cat,
yes,
can she understand me?
Oh yes, oh yes. Cats
But
are cosmic beings, and they are talking to each other, and they are talking to us. There is a lot of conversation going on about you, and your cat thinks it's hilarious the way you speak to her in that special voice, as if she is somehow not able to understand. Is there any further questions?
Samir?
Hello, Zariyah.
Hello.
Zariyah, in continuation with Jenny's question, I wanted to ask, what is it that we carry with us from one lifetime to another?
In terms of your expansion, you
Yes.
bring all of that. That becomes part of your akash. But we would perhaps quibble with the word carry. Carry does imply baggage. It does imply the idea that you are carrying a heavy load from one lifetime to the next. And in a sense, this is what karma represents to people on your planet. The idea that you must make penance for the mistakes as you see them in other lifetimes, or that you are benefiting from your good works in other lifetimes. But it is not so punitive or so difficult as that. What you are doing when you are expanding is taking all of the knowledge of your expansion and sharing it not just for you in your other incarnations, in your other counterparts, but you are sharing that with all of the universe. You do understand that there is a timeline in the not so distant future where you will be acting as channels and guides to beings evolving on similar timelines to what is happening on Earth in the future, much as Zariyah is here speaking with you now, and the information from the Orion Council of Light is coming through. We are, in a sense, wanting to assist you, and that is what we call information sharing. As we were on our journey in the Orion civilization, we were not thinking about how everything we were learning and how we were expanding would ultimately be of assistance to beings in 2024 timeline on Earth who were going through their own expansion. Believe me, that was the farthest thing from our mind. But here we all are now in this quite unbelievable arrangement. We are telling you lessons that we have learned from our civilization in a different star system, on another timeline, in a different dimension. And you are thinking about that information and how you can apply it to your lives. So in that sense, that is what karma is, and that is what you take with you. But it is not just with you as an individual. It is the baggage, so to speak, that informs the expansion of the entire universe. No pressure. Does that help?
Yes, it does. So I don't need to fear that, I might forget everything, and whatever I've gained or knowledge I'm collecting right now, I would be just forgotten in my next life. It'll be like a new slate, and I'm like, I got to start all over again.
Oh no, at the beginning. How exhausting. Of course not. And we will tell you, Samir, that every individual on your planet, although they sometimes look at their life and think, I wish this were different, I wish I knew that earlier, I wish I had that quality when they look at someone else, every individual on their planet is delighted to be who they are, is excited to be who they are, knows that who they are and what they know is just right for their path. So there isn't a feeling of not having access to information that they ought to have and that they have accumulated in some other time-space reality, but are now being denied. No, no, no. You have access to all of the universal information that you need. And the only reason you are not downloading it all the time is because it isn't relevant for you. What is relevant for you is always accessible. And when you transition into non-physical, you will see that the library is so vast and your Akash is so populated with experience and emotion that it would have been a hindrance to have access to that all the time on this path that you're on now. You came for the process of reintegrating yourself towards enlightenment and reunification with source. So you take those parts that you need for that process, and that is what forms your expansion in this lifetime. Does that help?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, that kind of releases the pressure that I got, what if I forget everything, or what if I'm vibrating at a low frequency and, got to start all over again. Uh, Thank you for that assurance.
Yes,
So
yes,
in connection to that, like last week, I had a very a dream in which I was in a war zone, literally, and I've never had that
yes,
kind of a dream. And it was
yes,
throughout the night trying to escape from, one calamity to the other. Can you
yes.
expand on that? What was that?
Yes, well, you will find that there are numerous people on your planet experiencing these times of dreaming states. That is because the war energy on your planet is rife. We know that often in groups like this, you are able to remove yourself from that vibration. However, it is very present around you in the human experience. And it has been very present over multiple timelines and multiple experiences that you and your counterparts have had. And actually, you can see in that way the ways that knowledge and experience that is relevant to you from other lifetimes does find its way to you when it is the pertinent moment. And the moment to transform that energy, that war energy, into enlightenment energy is upon you as a civilization. There are more and more people who are resisting the imposition of that energy. However, they have not understood how to resist that energy effectively. That in advocating against something, you just generate it further. That really true resistance, in a sense, to that type of energy is to, as we have talked about in previous transmissions, create something different. Creative potential is the antidote to war energy. It is not fighting fire with fire. And that is something that we understood on our civilization. We will tell you that it is not uncommon for these memories to surface because you are trying to transform them. And you can do that by taking a creative approach to your visions as you recall them. Don't let yourself be drawn into the drama of the war experiences of your counterparts, but instead take that experience and create something lighthearted out of it, if you can. Does that help?
Yes, thank you so much. Finally, just say a hi to my guiding angel and what frequency am I vibrating right now?
She is standing behind you, tapping you on the shoulder, saying, you can say hi to me in any case. You don't need Zariyah.
All right, thank you so much. Hi.
And in terms of, one moment, there is an interference on the computer. We will wait. In terms of a vibrational frequency range, we can see that you are currently vibrating at 184,000 cycles per second. Woo! Ariella
right.
is patting you on the back.
Wow, thank you. Thanks, that's all from me.
You are so welcome. Is there anything?
Zariyah, I would like to ask what frequency is my vibration right now? And who is my guiding angel?
We are reading your vibrational frequency range at this time. You are vibrating between 162 to 168,000 cycles per second. In terms of an angel guiding presence in your life, one moment, we are finding a name, Rafaela. We are feeling the energy of a Rafaela. There is a rose-colored warm wave that is moving through the channel's body. She is bringing through a very healing, soothing, calming energy. She is a ninth dimensional being. And she has walked with you and other counterparts for the duration of your life experience. She is asking you to walk barefoot in some sand if you can find it. That there is some mineral properties or healing properties in that are available to you. We understand this might mean to travel, and if you are able to, she is encouraging you to make that journey. Does that help?
Yes. So walk on sand.
Yes. Barefoot.
Barefoot. Okay, fine. Thanks. Can I do it after a week?
You can do it whenever you please.
Oh, and how long to walk? Is there a message about that?
It is not really of any consequence how long. It is just the connection with the barefoot on sand and the ability of the mineral quality to make that contact.
Oh, lovely.
It's time, Zariyah.
If there are no further questions, we will
I
take
have one question about, in context to the cat. I have cats. I used to keep them inside. However, they defecate and they urinate inside the house. So I kept them outside the house. And now they defecate in the neighborhood's courtyard, which they complain to me. So what do I do, and what is this communication of the
We
cats?
cannot hear you very well. What did you refer to in the house?
The cats.
Cat.
The cats peeing and defecating in the house. Why are they doing that when they can do it outside?
Well, I think the cat is testing your sense of humor. We will leave you to figure out that puzzle on your own. If there are no further questions, we will leave you and bid you good day.
And
Goodbye and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Hey guys.
Oh, she's
Wow.
Hi, Ash.
Fun.
Hey,
Thank
Samir.
you.
Samir's back.
Yes, I'm back. So nice to
lost
be.
you. We lost you for a couple of
Yeah,
weeks.
for
there,
2
Samir.
weeks, 2 weeks.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
good,
we
good
blinked
to
and
see you
Miles
back.
went to a different timeline.
Yes. The one, the week before, Liz, it was your message that you'll not be able to attend. And somehow I read it as Zariyah has written that she'll not be able to attend. So I was under the impression, so there's no session tomorrow. And I did not attend. That was the reason,
no. Sorry.
No, that's absolutely okay. It was my bad. I read it wrongly. So that was the and next one I was, I don't know, kind of maybe just missed out.
Well, we
Oh.
missed.
Ash, and you need a microphone, please.
I've got
The
one.
voice
You
is-
can't notice?
No, it is still low, the voice.
Oh, right. I'll have to
Hey
try
guys, is
again.
it just me, or is everyone can listen very this, or are
fine
you
for
getting a little
me.
lower?
It's fine for me.
I mean,
It's fine
Yeah.
for me.
Okay.
I mean, there are a couple
Oh,
of
outnumbered,
Fine
Samir. You're
to me
outnumbered.
Okay, I need to do something. Next time
Take it
I'll
back
raise my
home.
vibration a bit more higher.
I think there are a couple of times where when Zariyah talks where she, she bends and she moves away from the microphone a little bit. I think that might be it. But I think
I am going to get some better technology. It's just so terrible at the moment, but it might be a couple of months before I do that. It's a little computer I've only got.
Yeah, so this is I think the highest number of people also right now. Ash, we have 11 people right now.
That's so cool. That's so cool. Thank you,
yes,
everyone,
absolutely.
for coming. I really appreciate it. I think someone from work rang during that thing. I'm going to get them in big trouble because I put like a do not disturb.
I told them you were here.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, amazing. Yeah. Well, thanks so much, guys. I hope everyone has a beautiful week. And oh no, Miles, you got changed out of your amazing outfit. Did you?
Yeah, I did. It's they'll still see it in the beginning. Yeah.
Excellent.
But I thought it was appropriate considering that the topic of this week,
exactly.
was fun. Yeah.
Was funny.
Yes.
Amazing. Okay, see you guys. Have a great week. See you next time.
All right,
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Okay,
you. Thank you.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.